You're listening to Epic Footnote Productions. Go to linktree/Epic Footnote for links to all of our streaming platforms, YouTube channel, social media pages, and merch site. That's linktr.ee/Epic Footnote.
Hey everyone, what's going on? It's If You Have to Pick Three. It's Matt.
And it's Zach.
This is our Pick Three show, obviously. I get a Pick Three list. Zach gets a Pick Three list. We fight it out for a final top three list. Today, you click the picture, we are discussing actually somebody who I thought, A, that I would never really discuss, and B, that we would never really discuss because
Really?
I hate to say this being from New Jersey, but I never really got into Billy Joel all that much.
Oh, that is blasphemous. That is very blasphemous.
However, even if you've never been into Billy Joel, you've got a favorite Billy Joel song.
There's also no denying how incredible Billy Joel is. He has written so many songs to the point that even us trying to do a pick three list of his best songs is nearly impossible. I mean, you instantly hear one of his songs and you are probably breaking out into sing-along. He's just one of the most...
You're the piano man.
Exactly. Literally, as we just started doing this now, and we owe a lot of money now to Billy Joel because of song credit rights, and we can actually hear all of the tri-state area singing along with us. That's how it works, clearly.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, yeah. Him and Bruce Springsteen run the tri-state area. And we decided now's the time to actually decide and do the impossible task of what are Billy Joel's three greatest songs, because this year, the Piano Man himself turns 75 years old. Ugh, I hate saying that out loud. We're all turning old. But then also on top of that, after 10 years of doing a residency at Madison Square Garden, this summer...
That's a great office to have, though.
It is a great office. This summer will not only mark his 100th performance of this residency, but also his last. I mean, it's crazy to think that just over 10 years ago, he announced that he was basically performing a show every month at Madison Square Garden for pretty much the rest of his life. And he's been doing it for 10 years. And the fact that when he announced that he was going to be wrapping it up, people still went, oh my God, no, this is crazy.
Yeah.
No one, that's remarkable.
I'll raise my hand.
Yeah. No one has gotten sick of the fact that he's been performing at Madison Square Garden at least once. It's still one of the hottest tickets, to the point that me and my wife keep saying, we need to do this. And for whatever reason, we haven't, a mixture of timing, but also because every time we think, all right, now's the time to do it. Oh, no, tickets are still pretty darn expensive.
And they're only going to get more expensive now.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, during this residency alone, it's been 100, it'll be 100 performances when all is said and done. On top of it being 150 of just him playing Madison Square Garden, period, over his entire lifespan of 5 decades. Holy cow. That's just remarkable. And then on top of it, chances are, by the time that you're listening to this episode, you're also blasting Billy Joel's first new song in I don't even know how many years. For the longest time, he said, nah, I'm not going to, my last album was 1993. I see
what you did there.
12 albums. What did I do?
Done this for the longest time. Come on.
That was actually a coincidence. I always, try to do some stuff, some cheeky puns, but that was a coincidence.
It's better when it's natural. Just let it happen.
He hasn't done a new album since 1993. It's been many years since he's done even any kind of music or new song. And suddenly out of nowhere, he decided, yeah, I'm going to release a new song called Turn the Lights Back On. And it's going to be his first time at this year's Grammys, performing the Grammys in over 20 years. It's a good time to be a Billy Joel fan, or a sad time if you consider that you're basically saying goodbye to him at Madison Square Garden. Although I'm sure he'll be back and maybe doing a second residency. Who knows? But without further ado, Matt and I will be naming the three best songs from the Piano Man that are not named Piano Man. Yeah, I'm not saying that Piano Man is his best song, but let's be honest, it's his signature song.
It's atop of a lot of people's lists. There's no reason to call it out.
It is probably one of the most overplayed songs. But every time you do hear it, you're singing along and going crazy with it. And even I still get kind of emotional because, and admittedly, more so because my nephew, who's now in college, That is one of his like go-to songs to play on the piano, and he always nails it. I'm just like, oh no, oh my goodness, my nephew's growing up. So like again, the power of Billy Joel, the sentiment that he creates with his music, the fact that you can just tie it into so many of your own personal stories. So here, without further ado, Matt and I are going to be duking out over what we think are the 3 best songs from Billy Joel, not named Piano Man. Matthew, my dear, would you like to go first? Yeah, I know that got awkward. It got awkward. We can say it got awkward. It's fine. Would you like to go first?
Sure. All right. I'm going to start out with probably the biggest target, the song with the biggest target on its back, at least for me, and it's "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Whoa!
Yep.
That's the one you're leading with?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Proceed.
This list is not going to be what you think it is.
I guess not. My goodness, you're just coming out full blaze. You started the fire. You're not.
I did. Honestly, for all of the songs that he's got out there, this for me is one of the most unique. And I think that's gonna be one of the themes on my list, is the most unique songs from Billy Joel, because this has got a little bit more of an electronic sound for Billy Joel than a lot of his other material, and just the cadence of the entire song and the way that the lyrics play out, it really has got a great vibe, and it's got lyrics that everybody knows and everybody forgets. And I think that the song, it's not only timeless, but it's also very timely when you listen to it, because it's all facts of history and things that happened between, I think it was the 50s and like the early 80s or the late 70s. But it's an encapsulation of history. And I think that's what's so cool about it, is somebody is able to do that and encapsulate in a catchy way that doesn't feel like it's getting old. But the more that you listen to it, and the more that you think about, well, what was he singing about? It's like, oh man, that's a long time ago now. So much to the fact that Fall Out Boy felt necessary to cover the song. And they did a great job with it. It's not as iconic as Billy Joel doing it, but it is definitely a great refresher to the song and to encapsulate all of the new stuff that happened from, I think it's the early 90s up to 2023. So I love the way that it's written. I love the sound, and I always have ever since I was a little kid. It was one of those songs that I always wanted to listen to, and I never knew who it was until I finally found out. I never had it on like an iPod or anything. So I'm going to go with "We Didn't Start the Fire" as the first song on this list. The next song, I'm going to admit that I didn't hear this until way, way later in life, because I had an album from the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund. And it was the guys in, I believe it was Robin Hood, the charity that helped organize the 12-12-12 concert. And they put out an album to help raise funds for the Hurricane Sandy relief. And I bought a copy of it, and Billy Joel was on it. And Billy Joel had a great performance. And one of the songs that stood out to me, and even going back to the original recording on the Turnstile album, it's a great song. It's got a great theatrical approach to it. And I find that not a lot of, at least for me, the diehard Billy Joel fan is probably going to disagree with me, but I feel like this has got a great theatrical presence to it for some reason. And it really just kind of grabs me every time I listen to it. And for not knowing it, it felt like the most familiar song I've ever heard in Miami 2017. I just love the theatrics to it. I love what it kind of describes, because if you think about it now, even though 2017 is in the past, from when he wrote it, speaking about what Florida and Miami is going to be and what it actually ends up becoming and what the world is like in the time that the song is singing about, it really's got this big theatrical approach that I'm forgetting the lyrics right now, but I believe the lyrics are that like Manhattan or New York is underwater and everybody just went down to Florida and everybody's living in Florida now for some reason, because Florida didn't go underwater, but New York did. Whatever. I love the theatrics that it captures. So I'm going to say that's number 2. And number 3, this one for this list, at least for me, this might be the most controversial one on here.
More
But
controversial than We Didn't Start the Fire?
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. All right.
You really don't think that's one of his best songs?
Continue.
One of the things that really impressed me with music growing up was the artwork that was associated with it. I remember going into a lot of music stores because my dad and mom were big into music, and they were always in music stores, and they always had the big cardboard cutouts of what was new and what was coming out, or, just albums that were like the best-selling albums of the time, or just things that were hanging around the store, and it always kind of interested me. And if you don't know what I'm talking about because you are on the younger side, go look at a movie like Empire Records, and they have artwork just hanging around the store. You'll see it in there. It's a great movie too if you haven't seen it. Anyway, one of the albums that I very vividly remember from a young age, just kind of looking at and being like, what is that? It was Billy Joel's album, The River of Dreams. And it was just him in the middle of this big field in the river, and it was very like cartoony and just a very interesting looking album cover. It was also a little bit trippy, just looking at this. And it wasn't until years later, and this is stupidly interesting to me for some reason, when he was married to Christy Brinkley, she was the one who actually did the album cover, and she was given album cover of the year for that album. And for me, I think also what kind of drew me to that album was the title track, The River Dreams, because it was, once again, another very different sound, Billy Joel sounding song. It almost had like a tribal Phil Collins vibe to it. It didn't sound anything like what you would usually associate Billy Joel to. And I just very vividly remember listening to this song over and over again, and it just never got tiring to me. Now, I'm not saying that to everybody these are going to be the best 3 songs from Billy Joel, but for me, when I think of Billy Joel, yeah, you can think of, it's still rock and roll to me, Uptown Girl, She's Always a Woman, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Moving Out, all these other really classic Billy Joel songs. Everybody knows those. Everybody likes them. But for me, my personal top 3 are The River Dreams, We Didn't Start the Fire, and Miami 2017.
All right. Coming in hot. So let me just get right into mine. I think the first one I'm going to start off with in my top 3 is probably one that is undeniably one of his best songs. I mean, even Billy Joel has said that this is maybe his best and favorite song of his. Of course, I'm talking about Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. It is probably one of the most epic sounding Billy Joel songs. Definitely Beatles, Abbey Road inspired. I mean, even he's talked about at great length how A Day in the Life was really an inspiration for this song. But I just love the song because it's just, there's the 3 parts of the song to it. It's so like operatic and almost rock opera-ish. But to me, the middle part, the part that's Dixieland inspired, New Orleans jazz inspired, it just sounds so much like New York. I just feel like I'm just listening to a piece with the horns, just a piece of old school New York. And it's just, musically, it's just one of his greatest songs. And it's just so epic for Billy Joel. I mean, it really, like I said, it's him trying to be the Beatles on the song, and he really succeeds in many ways. I would argue that, I mean, I will go tooth to nail to make sure that this is in the final 3, but Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, you really can't get any better from Billy Joel. And dare I say, if you're going to introduce someone to Billy Joel who maybe is not familiar with him, you're going to play this song. If you don't play Scenes from an Italian Restaurant first, then what are you doing? Yeah,
Playing Piano Man.
Yeah, probably playing Piano Man. But then they're going to go, oh, I know this song. And then you're going to go, but have you heard this song? And then their mind's going to be exploding. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so that's number 1, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. My second pick is from the late 70s, the opening track from 52nd Street. It's a little rocker of a song called Big Shot. I always loved just the guitar riff to it and the swagger. I mean, it's definitely one of his more rocking songs, but I also actually fell in love even more recently when I actually stumbled upon a video of Billy Joel on Howard Stern talking about the inspiration to this song, because Howard had asked him, "Is it true that you were on a date with Mick Jagger's ex-wife Bianca Jagger and you wrote this about her?" But then he clarified it was actually I was hanging out with Mick Jagger and Bianca Jagger, and I noticed kind of Mick was a little annoyed with Bianca, and Bianca was acting a little snotty. So I wrote this song as like, what if Mick was saying this to her in that moment? And the second he said that, I'm like, oh my God, I understand now. This Big Shot is Billy Joel essentially trying to write a Rolling Stone song, and again, succeeding. Like, even the no, 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 you had to be a big, like, oh my God, I think he's literally channeling Mick Jagger in the studio while he was recording that. Like, it was just like kind of mind blown. Like, it really, the more you think about it, is the best song the Rolling Stones never recorded. So that only just made me fall more in love with it. And it's just a great example of the pop rock that he really succeeded at doing. I mean, between that and even You May Be Right, like the more rocking songs, like, it's just, you can't help but just bop your head around to it while that is on. But I'm going with Big Shot as my second pick. So number 2 for me, Big Shot. And the third pick, which I thought was actually going to be more controversial until Matt brought up We Didn't Start the Fire, is a song from the 80s. Now, I start that off saying song from the 80s because there's definitely a strong group of people who will say, no, 80s Billy Joel sucks. No, what the hell? If you watch the movie Step Brothers, there's the hysterical scene leading into the Catalina wine mixer of Horatio Sanz in a strictly 80s Joel tribute band, and people keep yelling out 70s Billy Joel songs. Like, I said it, it's only 80s Joel. But also, to give you an example, a little sidetrack story here. A few years ago, I was out to lunch with a bunch of my coworkers, and a former coworker, I'm not even sure how it came up, a former coworker of mine made the sudden, strong opinion saying, I love Billy Joel. I just wish that, I don't know, that he just died before 1980. So we didn't have any of the 80s Billy Joel stuff. To which me and another coworker were like, whoa, that's extreme. What about just retiring? And then immediately after kind of like the shock of him making such a, really like, whoa kind of statement, we both turned to each other going, I kind of like 80s Billy Joel though. And I'm like, yeah, Uptown Girl is a jam, which leads me to my third pick, Uptown Girl. That is probably the prime example of what Billy Joel was trying to do with the more kind of Motown, Frankie Valli kind of vibe in the 80s. And, I'm sure a lot of people were turned off by it initially, but then the more you listen to it, the more you realize, my God, that's a great effing song, a great effing pop song. Like, it's so upbeat. It just kind of is the perfect kind of like, it really is the perfect Frankie Valli song that he never did. And just the whole, like, the theme of, I'm the downtown guy, the kind of, looking at the music video, the kind of guy that's just in a garage working a car. I can never get that, hot uptown girl who's, comes from wealth and everything. It's such, almost like, for a typical New Yorker, such, so many guys can be like, yeah, I can relate to that. And, of course you have the music video of him, trying to flirt with Chrissy Brinkley. And to the point, I mean, that video is so iconic that I still remember a few years ago the Madison Square Garden network MSG network was showing like just a documentary about the Madison Square Garden shows, and they showed a clip of him performing Uptown, and they also then showed how, like, during the show they panned to Chrissy Brinkley in the audience, and the whole arena just going, that's awesome, she's like you just, the second you see her, you go, Uptown Girl, do 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 do, like, even though that's actually not really actually about her, even though it's kind of actually debatable whether it was about her or another model he was dating at the time, but she was kind of still was around in the circle. Let's complicate it, who really, no one really cares, but to me it's just a great example of fun, of how Billy Joel did write some fun songs, kind of in a similar vein of, I'm going to throw this honorary mention out real quick, the longest time, I know a lot of people kind of turned off by the doo-wop kind of Frankie Valli song that he did, but I'll always personally remember just during when I was in a band in college, and we decided randomly to do a photo shoot in the middle of December in Maine, just really cold, and all of us just huddling around each other to keep warm and just singing "Whoa" for the longest time. And just that song will always make me just smile and think of that. Kind of similar, just again, Uptown Girl. If you don't smile to that song while listening to it, do you really have a soul? Just ask yourselves and get back to me. To recap, though, my final three: Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Big Shot, and Uptown Girl. Plus, I could do a million honorary mentions. Again, that's how tough coming up with a list is. Matt, I'm a little shocked at your list, to be honest. I'm surprised.
Yep.
I figured one of us would come out with Movin' Out, an amazing song. One of us would come out with You May Be Right. I May Be Crazy.
I'm the lunatic that you're looking for, because like
apparently.
I said, I'm not your prototypical Billy Joel fan. Like, I'm not the guy who's gonna go to those songs, and the reason why is because my parents loved radio when these songs came out,
and you just overheard them.
Like, to the point where I have references to other ways that I've heard these songs and I prefer them more, like Uptown Girl. I can remember the Simpsons episode where Homer is using that as his anthem against the man, and it cracks me up every time. Like, as you were talking about Uptown Girl, I'm like, that's just Homer Simpson.
See, so I was thinking that whenever I hear that song, I think of Trainwreck, and how Bill Hader's character, that's the song he always listens to while he's doing surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Again, but that's also how iconic Billy Joel is that his songs are associated with millions of things in media.
Yeah. Like, Moving Out, there's a reggae band called the Supervillains. They did a cover of it, and it's so just reggae. I love it more than the original, because once again, I've heard the original so much. I'm trying to think. There was a few other ones as you were saying it.
If I could just kind of, for a second though, because going into us trying to determine the final three, this is going to be a little tricky. I'm going to be completely honest, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, this is where I go, here's a compromise, or here's, my suggestions.
Okay. No, my suggestion includes We Didn't Start the Fire and whatever other ones you want to pick. That's it.
Interesting. You're going to fight for We Didn't Start the Fire.
Yes.
You're going to start that fire.
Yes. How can you deny that that's one of his greatest songs? Come on.
It was a little, I find it hokey.
You're hokey.
I am hokey. Everyone
turn yourself around and walk right out of here. Really? I don't fight for much, man.
I know you. Well, no, that's not true. You just ask everyone, go, no, I won't do it. Nailed it, by the way. Great impersonation.
Yes, because they sound just like that.
Yeah. Everyone's listening going, wait, there's two Matts? Anyway.
Yes, one on your left channel and one on your right channel.
I enjoy myself sometimes. Anyway, like, I'm inclined to give you a bone, but I have a hard time saying that song is better than even songs we don't include on this list. I will give you this. He does a phenomenal job at, like, capturing so much history in that song. I was about to say for a political Billy Joel song, but I wouldn't even say that's one of his best political songs either. I will give you We Didn't Start the Fire, but I don't feel great about it. There.
That's all right. You can feel dirty about one of them. Have at whatever else you want.
Well, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, that has to be on the top 3 list.
That's him imitating the Beatles.
No, that's not him imitating the Beatles. That's blasphemous. That is him creating art. That is him creating the sound of New York in 3 operatic pieces. How dare you, sir, insinuate otherwise?
I can insinuate that he was trying to do Meatloaf.
How dare you? How dare you?
Tell the truth? Sure, I will.
No, that's not. It's one of the best songs ever, period. Anyway, so that's going to be in the final 3. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Between my other 2 songs, which would you choose? Big Shot or Uptown Girl?
I don't love Big Shot,
What?
so Uptown Girl.
My goodness, man.
You're also talking to the guy who doesn't like overly like the Rolling Stones, and if you're telling me that's a Rolling Stones song,
You
You're
like
trying
the
to
Rolling Stones. You
the
literally
last-
named the last album your
album,
favorite
yes.
album, which is also bizarre. Anyway,
right? I
My
live in
goodness.
Bizarro world.
You
If
really
it's
do,
good, I'll
friend.
call it out and say it is. If it's not, I won't.
Oy vey, my friend. Oy vey. You really were forced to listen to classic rock radio your whole life, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Ugh.
And We Didn't Start the Fire is also on his Greatest Hits Volume 3 album. So
He's so what? There's millions of songs in his. You make it sound like
he
that's
named it as one of his greatest songs. So there you go.
on volume 3.
Doesn't matter.
On
It came out in
volume 3.
89.
On
Volumes 1 and 2 were
volume
released before then.
3 of 3 volumes. It didn't make the first cut, is what I'm hearing.
It couldn't.
Anyway,
It wasn't.
Get outta
It
here.
literally wasn't released.
oy vey. Anyway, I think we
you and
finally.
walk right out of here to your
Oy vey.
Italian restaurant.
I will, and you're not invited. I'm gonna have a
That's
bottle
okay,
of red.
because there's another one.
I'm gonna have a bottle of red and a bottle of white because my appetite is just hungry to fight over this. Anyway,
All right, I'm moving out.
go back to Allentown. Anyway, I'm not thrilled with that one. But so final 3. We Didn't Start the Fire, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, and Uptown Girl. Boom. Do you all agree?
With an uptown girl.
Well, I'm just gonna have that stuck in my head all night, and I'm okay with it. But do you agree? Who do you agree with more? Actually, do you agree with Matt or myself? I'm Zach. By the way.
Nobody's going to agree with me. That's okay.
It's all right. Let Matt know how you feel about his picks on Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads at Epic Footnote. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you hear a ton more episodes similar to this. Let us know on pretty much all of our socials, like I mentioned before. Just also what your favorite songs are, what's your favorite Billy Joel concert, and what songs you like to hear him sing live. And also a major special shout out to Lucky 13 Beer Co.
If you haven't done so yet, log on to lucky13beardco.com and get yourself some of the finest beard balms and oils on the internet today. Ed and the guys, top quality product that they put out, and one of the best smelling beard balms on the market. We even have our own. It is a tribute to Lemmy from Motorhead. It is bourbon, tobacco, cola, and leather. It smells amazing. And we're going to give you a chance to try it and anything else that they have on their website by using the code EFP10 at checkout to get you 10% off of your entire order. Put anything in the cart, use the code EFP10, Lucky13, the number beardco.com.
And also go to our linktree/Epic Footnote, where you can get links to not only all of our streaming platforms, but also to our merch site. You want to help us out? Buy a t-shirt, a hat, a hoodie, a coffee mug with our logo on it. Let your friends know, hey, I listen to Matt and Zach talk about music on podcasts. Maybe a little too much. It helps us keep producing these episodes, and again, it spreads the word about us. We really appreciate your support and for listening to us. We hope you join us for another episode real soon.
See ya.